if you are an agent who is struggling with transitioning from a 9 to 5 or the corporate world into entrepreneurship as a real estate agent or investor, this may be the video that changes everything for you, gives you all valuable information to make sure that that happens not only successfully but smoothly. On this interview, I had the pleasure of speaking with Judith Aguilera, a Chicago real estate agent, part of the Wolfpack here at eXp Realty. She breaks down everything from first-time home buyer strategies, niche strategies, prospecting methods, and how to juggle career and personal life with a little bit of her own story. Super inspiring. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Judith, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview today. I know, as agents, we're super, super busy, so I really appreciate it. For those of who do not know you, right, who don't know your story, don't know what you do, where you live, or what it is that specifically that you focus on, tell me a little bit about you and tell everybody, a bit about you, how you came into the business, how long you've been doing it, etc.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you so much, Fernando, for having me here for the opportunity. Well, my name is Judith Aguilera. I'm an EXP Realtor for a year and a half, and I am just very happy. I started basically by my uncle actually. We did a seller finance, and that gave me the opportunity to grow and give me more ideas into real estate. I also in the future I do want to go into those routes and either flipping and fixing, because I'm very a creative mind, so I like to do a little bit of everything. I'm just not because I came with that idea when I started here. So that's what it's very important to me to actually grow in those parts that I'm interested in. I know that I'm capable of doing those.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about this, right? You said that what happened with your uncle and the seller financing, right? So one, kind of break that down a little bit. What type of seller financing did you do, and how did that necessarily impact, the next step, which was you becoming an agent? Like, how did that bring everything about?
Yeah, so basically, to give you a little backstory, my uncle actually purchased that home when he was like 17, 18. And my grandmother told him, like, are you sure that you are, going into this big investment very young age? And he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna risk it all. So going through that time, I was 23. And he actually told me, hey, are you interested in the home? Because I actually grew up in that house my whole 28 years because I still live there. And he's like, hey, you want to purchase the home? I kind of want to sell it. So what we did basically, I was young. I didn't had no credit. I didn't have any money saved. So he's basically like the lender in this case. And we came into an agreement. Excuse me. We came into an agreement of the terms, and that's how everything every 6 months I give them some money to lower that amount and to get it, in title and everything.
Gotcha. Okay, so for those of the people who are listening and don't understand what seller financing is, right? Like basically in a nutshell, uh, instead of going the traditional route, right, getting a traditional loan with a local lender or a big lender, you decided to just take hands into your own matters into your own hands and speak to your uncle and tell him like, hey, I'll put a decent amount of a down payment and then I'll pay it off as the months go by, right? Just keep paying it off to him, right? Well, cool. And then as far as that goes, how did that inspire you to become an agent? If you don't mind me asking, like how was that like the spark? I know you mentioned he was very young, he took a risk. It's not something that was seen, right? How did that impact you in order to become an agent? Like how did that help?
Well, actually, what I did left on the side was that home is not a single family, it's actually a multi-family of 4 units. So that's how I was able to also keep paying him because all the other units are rented out and that money is saved. I pay the mortgage and then I pay him. So that's what basically sparked me. I got into, I'm being a landlord now and also just helping. I have a very service heart. So I'm very involved in helping others. So that's why I'm like, okay, before I was doing real estate, I was going for a nursing program. I was going to become a nurse. And again, I was going in there to help the people who were sick. So I was like, when real estate, if that didn't work for me, In real estate, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to help people buy their home, and that's an achievement for them because not many people don't know or are just scared also to take that step and becoming a homeowner. So that's what sparked me most of it, that it's another service level to help people. And also because I want to grow as well as myself personality. So with my life, I know real estate is big and that can give you many open doors that you can go with real estate. Oh, you're on mute.
No, yeah, 100%. I think you hit it right on the nail, right? Just basically saying, one, I think it's super important that you do come from a place of service, right? And wanted to aid these people. Um, because it's rarely seen, right? A lot of people see it as a business in which you just sell real estate, but in reality, it's not. It's a people business, right? People will not work with you if one, they don't like you and trust you, right? So you genuinely have to want to help these people and take their problems into consideration and figure out what they want done and be super transparent on whether you can make that happen or not, right? That's how true business gets done. Not only that, but that will also lead you to in the future get referrals, right? Because you don't want to always just chase a check, chase a check, chase a check, but you want to work for a very long time with these people. And I think that's great that you come from that place. So now going deeper into your real estate journey, right, as an agent, there's many different ways to get business. We know there's open houses, mailers, cold calling, right? Sphere of influence. I guess what method kind of, because I know you're saying you're in the search for your own personality, right? So which method suits that, right? Which method is the one that you chose to attack to actually get business?
Yes, definitely. Well, I started off with my sphere of influence. So currently I'm still in my sphere of influence, but I am new attacking into new systems, which is cold calling. That's another level to get me out of my comfort zone. So at the moment, I am focusing on buyers only, but I do want to transition as well into sellers and maybe just in the future, just sellers. But at the moment, I am doing buyers, and it's just amazing that feeling when I give them the keys, to them, and they're so happy and they're happy with me of everything that, because it's very important to have that team. So yeah, I mean, basically, I started off with sphere of influence and with buyers only. Hmm.
Awesome. So starting off with Sphere, looking to break out of your comfort zone by doing cold calling, right? So I'm curious
Yes.
about this, right? So because you want to break out of that comfort zone, how important do you think it is that agents, not only because some people shy away from it, right? Like they say, hey, this makes me uncomfortable, or hey, I've never done this, so I'm gonna, just shy away from it and just do what I'm comfortable with. How important do you think it is for someone to say, hey, I know this is not me just yet. It's a new world that I'm, experiencing. Instead of running away from it, I'm gonna run towards it. Like, how important do you think that is, and how helpful is it in all the agents' careers to do that?
No, it's very important because it has to start how desperate you want to succeed. Because if you focus a lot on fear, if you are just like, no, I can't do this, or what if I get rejected? You have to fail as many times to succeed. So it's very important that you take that mindset out of your head. You have to focus on what was your why, why are you going there, and whatever you have to go through, you have to go through it because in the future it's going to be bigger and better for you. So it's very important to have that mindset that I'm just going to do it. I don't care what they say because the other person in the phone doesn't even know you. They're just hearing your voice, and it's just that one conversation that even can change once you meet them in person with going and check their home. Maybe that person was someone famous or an attorney or someone that has someone that connects you with someone else, but it just started with that conversation that you were fearful of. Is, making those calls and saying, once you go in, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, I'm gonna run it and go it. That's very important.
Yeah. I think you mentioned two things super important, right? It's you have to be okay with failing in order to reach success, right? I'm reading this book called, Finding the Leader Within You by John Maxwell, and he speaks about that in his book, right? It's only mistake only is considered failure when you don't learn from it and you don't push forward, right? So it's not really a failure, or it's not that you necessarily failed. It's just a stepping stone to actually get what you truly want, right? And instead of being afraid of it and avoiding it, it's almost like you actually have to run towards the failures. You want to fail as fast as possible and make mistakes as fast as possible, right?
Yes, failing doesn't kill you, it makes you succeed, so don't focus on, oh, now what does this happen? Think about, okay, what I'm gonna do differently next time. What happened during that time that this situation happened? You have to think it, make your mindset think it of the other side instead of the negative, that we're always there. We're always thinking of what's gonna happen bad, but we have to focus on the positive more than the bad.
Absolutely. I agree. And for the agents who are watching, right? Because obviously we know there's risk involved. We know there's fear that's going to be involved. And we have to overcome it some way, somehow. The only way to do it is by walking through the fire. There's no other way, right? So give us an example. I know right now you're in a place where you're prioritizing buyers, but you're looking to transition, right? So to talk about buyers, because that's what you started with and became successful with in your business, what type of buyers are you kind of connected with? Is it investors? Is it people who are buying properties after the second, third time, or are you going against first-time home buyers? What's your niche?
So far, these are first-time home buyers. Here and there, I do have investors, but mostly it's first-time home buyers that are very happy to get into it, and that's how I started it with first-time home buyers at the moment.
Okay, and tell me a little bit about that, right? Like, so how does that conversation go? Because I'm assuming, I'm an agent myself. When you deal with first-time home buyers, it requires a lot of reassurance, a lot of holding of the hand, and just reassuring them on the whole process, right? But how do you attack those conversations? How do you address them? How do you make them feel comfortable for everybody out there who's wondering, hey, how do I make them feel comfortable to work with me?
Yeah, first and foremost, is very important for you to be their leader and be the one that they trust you and like you, because that's very important. Because if the client doesn't align with you, then maybe it's not a good idea to work with them, because in every steps that it goes, there's gonna be certain that you guys are probably gonna knock on each other, and you're like, all this time for nothing, and they probably were looking on in your back, they were probably talking to another agent and stuff like that. So what I do is that usually as well, my first time home buyers are the sphere of influence, so they already know me, they already trust me. So recently, like one of my friends, who I've known her since when I was working my first job, actually in McDonald's, I was 19, and recently she just messaged me. I'm sorry, recently we just closed her home. So again, she trusts me, she likes me. I talked about her about the home buying process. I tell them, okay, these are the steps. Now this is what's gonna happen next. Now you're gonna receive this, so actually telling them um what's going to happen next, what they need, what they have to work on. So they can have an idea that they're like, okay, so now what? They're like, okay, what's next? Or they already know it.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's a great strategy, right? And I guess this is a two-part question for you, right? Because I think one, you said your sphere of influence is filled with people who already know you and already trust you, right? And I hear a lot of agents who say that sometimes it's tough to work with either people who already know you, who are friends, or who are family, right? As in Spanish, we have a dicho that says, familia y negocio aparte, right? We don't mix. Obviously you have a separate perspective on that because you've done it, right? So how do you kind of set the expectation on that, right? Like how do you know, like, hey, this is transaction is okay to do with this specific person, we can work together, and when do you decide like, hey, maybe this is not the right transaction to do and I'd rather refer them out?
Yes. So for the first question, it's basically I let them know, hey, I'm here as a professional. I don't want to mix it that, hey, okay, because of I know her, she's going to probably help me get more credits and stuff. No, every client is the same. Even if the house is 70, even if the house is $1 million, everyone's gets treated the same. So that's very important that when you speak to your sphere or your family, you let them know I'm here as a professional, but I'm here also for your best interest because that's what you have to go for it. And for your second question, you have to start out with them and getting to know a little bit more about them and what are they looking for. Saying, what are you looking for in a realtor?
Mm.
Maybe what happened with the past realtor? Have you talked to others? Get a little bit more information if they have spoken to other realtors, if they know already the home buying process, if they had a bad experience with someone else, and also getting to know their energy or the way how they want the process to go. That way you get to see if it aligns with you and if it's going to be best just to refer them out. Maybe some people are just English speakers and they don't know Spanish, and maybe a Spanish speaking came in and they're like, no, I'm more comfortable in working with a Spanish speaking. Like, I don't want a translator or nothing. I want to work with someone who's Spanish speaking only. So that those situations we have to just keep in mind that not every client it's our client. We have to hear them out what they want, and then also if it aligns with you and your business and how you want to run it.
Absolutely. I think you raised a great point, right? It's what you said. Not every agent is going to be a good match with every client, right? I think us as agents, we need to, how you said, set the expectation up front. Like I come here as a professional, I don't come here as a friend. This is more for like sphere of influence, right? Like I know me, you trust me because you appreciate the person that I am, but now I'm not coming to you as just a regular friend or family member. I come to you as a professional in the field, right? So setting that expectation and one thing that you mentioned that I love is us as agents dealing with sphere of influence, we tend to think, I don't need to explain this, or I can skip this step because they trust me, because they know that I'm a professional. And I don't think it's good to assume those things, right? Because although they trust you and appreciate you and know that you're a professional, everybody still wants to be filled in on the process, right? So you need to treat them exactly how you treat every single other agent, which I think is great that you mentioned. Um, and now I'm curious, right? Obviously, it gets a little difficult in the field, whether it's sphere of influence or it's a cold, lead that came in and you convert them into an actual client. I want to know what's one, instance in which you dealt with a very difficult client, right? They gave you a really hard time, maybe needed extra reassurance than what you're used to, and gave you a very hard time, but you were able to push through, and obviously get them to the finish line, or maybe you're just heading there. I want to know a little bit of your story.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in this field, there's going to be all kinds of people. So, but most importantly, it's having them to sit down with them and actually see what they want or what is missing. Because sometimes some people are more visionary. If you tell them, hey, okay, this is how it looks, maybe just send them over a Canva or something, a template with, they want to see a vision in it. They want to see the numbers also visionary. Some other people are more, um, they don't want you to talk a lot, just get to the point, so you have to know kind of that client and what areas are they? Are they more talkative? Do they need something visionary? Do they need that you have to get right into the point? I recently did have a client who were kind of a little difficult, but in that case, I don't point their finger on them. I point my finger on myself because I have to take responsibility. What am I missing? What did I do? What am I doing wrong? Or why is that happening? Like, why do they feel that way? So I did took a second and be like, okay, maybe I have to listen to them. What do they want? Um, what am I missing in that part that I can do better? I did tell them, do I have to let you know, more importantly, like the like in title, do you want to see the title fees? All of those numbers that sometimes people do want to see, or maybe they don't understand like the points and get them together with the lender, like more, into depth kind of situation with that client. So what happened is now that we are on the contract, everything's running good. So we're just waiting on appraisal. They did had kind of situation of appraisal, like, oh, what's going on and this and that. And with FHA and stuff like that. So you do have to reassure them that FHA is a little different. You get the appraisal. He's gonna check some inspections that have to be done. And so it's very important, but they are gonna have some situations that you want to quit. You're like, I don't want to deal with them anymore. But no, I mean, you started with them, try to finish them, but also don't just like leave them there and don't follow up. Maybe send them someone else, another agent, another referral, someone else that can help them, because of that bad situation. Again, those are the things that are gonna help you in your future, the way how you want to run it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it comes in with where you are, what stage you are in your career, right? Like if you have a lot of lead flow coming in, you have multiple transactions that you're kind of dangling or working on at the same time, you have to be very careful on who you actually invest your time in, right? Like you mentioned that if there's a client that's giving you a hard time, or maybe you don't have the time to dedicate to them as much as you'd like to because they just need extra help, it's better to refer them out to somebody who does have the time, right? And it's also very important what you mentioned. Maybe what am I doing that's giving them a hard time in understanding, right? One thing that I learned in my career as well is I went through a similar situation, right? It's just the lender missed something, right? And explaining to the client, and I knew about it and I didn't share it, right? Because I as a new agent was like, well, the lender is also a professional. He should have told them, they should have known. But that's the problem. All these assumptions that they should have, they would have, they could have. When you make everything your fault, and that after that day, it never happened again. I made sure that although I know the lender should tell them, I'm still going to tell them. Although the attorney should tell them this and bring up this, I'm going to bring it up first. Just make sure that for whatever reason they slip up, I don't, right? Make sure that we work as a collective, as a team. Make everything your fault because when you depend on others to fix
Yes.
mistakes, sometimes it doesn't get done, right? So making it my fault. Um,
Yes,
so
you brought a great point there, because recently with my last transaction, they went to Vegas and I was kind of freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna probably, we got the closing day and everything cleared to close, but I was freaking out and I told them, hey, I know we already have the closing day. I know we have everything cleared to close and everything, but I just want to let you know and make and tell you that lenders still are going to run your credit. They're still going to double check everything, even on the closing date. So please hold on it, on getting excited and buying furniture, because they were already kind of excited. And they're like, oh, we're going to buy a big TV and a big sofa. And I'm like, just please wait until you close the transaction, and get the keys on your home. So I had that in back of my head. I'm like, oh, I have to tell them, even if maybe the lender told them or not, you have to, as you mentioned, don't assume and just let them know, because things can happen that they're like, oh, well, we didn't know, we already had the clear to close, I thought, and bam. So that's very important.
absolutely, I agree. You mentioned Vegas and it sparked up a time. You mentioned sphere of influence, right? So there's a lot of family members that I've close transactions with. My parents are actually one of them, right? So they ended up going to Vegas as well. And this is what I mean by even though it's family members, even if you're new, this is the time to learn from our mistakes, right? Um, Same thing, they went to Vegas, might have used a card or two, right? And it's like, oh, the lender forgot to mention it. I forgot to mention it. Right. So you can't even be mad at anybody else because at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility for everything, even if it's not your fault, right? Because that way you're in control, or at least on more control of the things that can happen, right? So I definitely know that fear. And speaking of fear, in challenging moments, I'm curious, right? Because it's in business, it's already difficult enough with everything you have to go through. It's not like a linear path, right? It just goes up and down. And there's so many things that go into it, and it's hard to balance your business life with your personal life, right? So in your own experience, Judith, is there anything or what has been one moment in your life that kind of put things on pause for a little bit, right? Maybe made you question a couple of things or made it more difficult than it should have been, right? What's one moment like that, if you have any, of course?
Yeah, good question. Definitely, there are some times that you want to throw the towel. You know, you're like, oh, probably this is wasn't for me, or maybe your partner that you were with or that you're married, they're not in the same level, or they're just a whole other part. You know, there's a lot of personal stuff that people do focus a lot into it and kind of mix it up, and then you just can't focus very well in your business. I recently did. I recently did. My mother passed away this year in February, very young. She was 48. I was in and out of the hospital and the ICU since like around probably this all November, December, January. Um, and I was there on her deathbed the last day that she was here with me. I actually saw how she passed away. I saw how they did CPR. And it just hit me very hard seeing my mother, just leaving, taking her last breath. So it's very a hard decision to kind of go into a very strong mentality because it's very difficult that you were there the whole hospital days, hearing the beeping of the hospital machines, and just not hearing good or great news at all. It was all like, no, this is not working or this and that. So, and I was still making showings. I was still going for showings. I was still trying to kind of get my head into in another way to get distracted from what's going on. But either way, also like, this is my business. No one's gonna run it. I'm the CEO of it. I have to, you know, put the big boy pants, and you have to go through stuff in your business. So it was difficult a couple months, but I was still making showings. I was still, yeah, here and there, it gets depressed, it gets sad, but you have to get out of that mentality and get out of that scarcity mindset, and just bring abundance to it. Because it was hard, seeing your mother passing away, getting CPR. But in a way, sometimes things have to happen for you to grow. It's hard to say, but things like that is gonna happen in life, and if we don't get out of it, you're just gonna stay in the same place. So it's very important to be very strong-headed, get around people that are lifting you. I'm glad to be in a team that people in our community are lifting me. They help you, they share their wins. If you're struggling, they're there to help you. If you need help with showings and stuff like that, I thank you, Fernando, for also telling me if I needed help with showings or stuff like that to let you know. So that's a very big part of me that actually got a little that you guys helped me in a way that I was not alone. I'm here with the family. So that's very important that you have to be surrounded with people like that.
Absolutely. Obviously, I'll never sit here and pretend to know like what you're going through, right? But for everybody who's watching, this is the reason why I wanted to showcase your story, right? I think more people need to hear it. I think you inspire a lot of us in your team and the people who you are around. It's difficult. You don't really see that, right? Nowadays, it's like how they say, right? Everybody falls, but not everybody gets up. And I think you've been a great example of that, right? Like not everybody gets up, but you did, right? And you keep pushing, and you help us get better. And I think we all do that for each other. And it leads to my next question, right? Like for somebody who's out there watching and listening to your story, like I mentioned, it's already hard enough that business comes with its challenges and moments of confusion, moments that make you question, am I cut out for this, right? Is this what I was meant to do? And then throw life in there that throws you unexpected curveballs, right? In your case, it was the passing of your mom. For somebody who's watching, it may be a divorce, it may be losing a child, and maybe then themselves getting sick, right? What would you say to those people to encourage them that it does get better, right? That you're in control. Maybe not of what happens, but how you react to it, right? What would your words of encouragement be to those people who are watching now and need those words?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, life is not going to get any easier. So just don't quit. Keep pushing and laser focus. It's very important that the vision that you want, your why you started, everything, laser focus and do small steps each time. Don't also compare to other agents. I I had a struggle a couple months ago before I got my first closing, but again, I didn't want to think about it. Oh, it's because of my mom passing. I didn't want to put that excuse in me because that's very important that situations happen in your life and you're like, oh, it's because the rates or it's because of that problem that you're having. I put it in my head. I'm like, no, this is just because I'm not doing the work. I know I'm going through something, but I have to do the work. So again, it's important to laser focus and be strong on your why you started this job. It's not easy. You know, you are a CEO of your business, and it's very important that you take care of yourself as well. You know, maybe take it's okay to take 1 or 2 days off, or maybe 15 minutes of crying. Do okay in 15 minutes of crying and then get back to it. You know, because a lot of people tell you, oh, just go, you're so strong, or do it. No, you're gonna be times that you're weak, that you don't want to get up. But again, you have to go back to your why. Why am I doing this? It's not gonna be easy. So it's very important that also you surround with people that lift you. Get a team or someone that has your back and hey, how are you doing? Did you do this? Did you make those calls that you mentioned? Why not? You know, so that's what I will tell them, you know, just don't quit. Life is not easy. You just have to go through it. Go through the pain, go through the failing, and next thing you know, time passes, you're gonna be laughing about this. You know, like, damn, I can't believe I was gonna quit just because of that or this and that, you know. So it's very important. Again, these situations like my mom passing, that's situations of life. We're not here for a long time. So it's very important to also have a spiritual as well, or universe, focus on yourself and take control. Mhm.
Absolutely. I think you couldn't have put it better, Judith. And I'll mention it again just because I think it's super important. You definitely are an inspiration. Once again, I really love your story. I love how you're pushing through it. It definitely is not easy, right? And I think you mentioned the why. And here in our group, we talk about that a lot, right? And I think you and I spoke about it previously. There's a difference between a soldier and a warrior, right? A soldier is just follows protocol. They do what is expected of them, right? But a warrior goes above and beyond. And in order for you to go into battle, which in our position, in our situation, it's our personal life and our business life, or anybody who's looking to transition, right? We have to go through the motion. We're in a battle. And instead of just doing what's expected of us, how do we go above and beyond? How do we break that barrier that we feel is just keeping us in from finding our true best version of ourselves, right? And I think for that, you have to have a strong why. Like if you're in a battle, you're in a war, uh, why are you fighting that war? I think that's what's going to push you, right? You need to know what it is that you're fighting for, how important it is, how will it affect you, and maybe not even just yourself. Maybe it's being selfless, and how will it affect the people around me, right? If I become better, how will that affect my partner or my spouse or my wife or my kids? And I think we need to think about our bigger why, bigger than ourselves, right? Something that'll last a generation. I think that's super, super important. You
Yes,
mentioned the spiritual. I'm a faith-based person as well. You need to know why you're fighting,
yes,
right?
mhm.
So,
Yes,
question,
exactly.
go ahead, Judith.
Yeah, that's it, exactly very important. And also, sometimes your why is gonna change here and there, but it's always something that's gonna motivate you to keep growing and doing more work.
Absolutely. And to end it off here, because you said people are gonna say like, no, you're strong, keep going. And I think it's good to highlight that that's not necessarily true. It's not what you see on social media, it's not what you see on movies, it's not what you see, or what you hear. You genuinely will not know until you go through it, right? A support system is definitely something that you need. So if you're watching this video and you need that, please find one. Um, and also, I think it's about consistency, right? You mentioned it's just about being consistent. Consistency doesn't necessarily mean that every day you're just strong, right? It means that you're just consistent. I know that I'm going to fall sometimes, but guess what? I'm gonna be consistent with getting back up, right? Even if that waiting period is a day, or maybe like you said, maybe it's crying for 15 minutes. You had a minor setback, but the consistency kicks in when it's like, hey, yes, I did fall, but I'm gonna rise again, and I'm gonna keep doing that until I gain the strength where the setbacks just keep decreasing, right? There's not as much setbacks as when I started. And with that being said, Judith, one thing I want to do, because I've been doing something very special with the people that come and they obviously get interviewed by me and we have conversations to share with the public. I want to end it off with a very important question, and not necessarily business related, but if you could throw it in there, that's great too. I want to end it off with a question that kind of sparks thought into your mind, and people can take it as they wish and get some value from it, right? But for you, the question would be, what are you praying for or meditating on in this season of your life, right? Business and personal life, regarding those.
Oh, great question. Um, Praying and meditation. Yeah, definitely. I would say more on praying and healing that everything that I'm going through, understanding grief. If you need help, I'm actually currently going to therapy, which a lot of people are like, why are you going through it? But it's very important that you ask and take care of yourself. So praying for the healing, praying in the world as well to find peace, and a lot of most importantly as well is just because it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Everyone has is going through a lot of stuff, and for me personally, it's just healing in myself and also healing of the world, giving peace. That's very important that we all need in this time.
I appreciate you saying that. Yes, and again, for anybody who's watching, first and foremost, Judith, thank you so much for your time. I'm praying for your healing as well. I hope that obviously that helps. I've done therapy before. I think it's amazing. I think you are doing great thus far, and I want you to know that. Okay, and for the people who are watching, I hope that they're inspired by your story, because this is a realistic story. This isn't something they see on Netflix, right? Like selling the OC or selling Sunset, right? This is realistic,
And this is no
real things.
influencer.
Yeah, this is the real
This
deal.
is
This
real
is
life. Yeah, this is real life, real deal.
100%. So, guys, if you guys are watching this, I hope this one thing that you guys took to heart, that resonated with you. I hope you guys, if you guys are transitioning from a 9 to 5 or the corporate world and looking to get into entrepreneurship as a real estate agent or real estate investor, I hope this video, helped. You got something from Judith that again resonated with you, is helping you on that transition. Or if you are an agent and just obviously want more help, feel free to connect with Judith. I'll put her information below. You can connect with me as well. And again, I hope you guys got at least one piece of valuable information that can change your life or your career forever. So again, Judith, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys later.